వెంకటేశ్వరరావు కాలేజ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ అండ్ టెక్నాలజీ 2008 లో స్థాపించిన కళాశాలలో MBA, NAC A గ్రేడ్ మరియు ISO సర్టిఫికేషన్ సాధించిన మొట్టమొదటి కళాశాల శ్రీ ముత్తవరపు వెంకటేశ్వరరావు కాలేజ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ అండ్ టెక్నాలజీ త్వరలో అటానమస్ కాబోతోంది.
2014లో ISO గుర్తింపు, 2015లో రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వంచే A గ్రేడ్, 2016లో NAC A గ్రేడ్, ఇప్పుడు NBA సాధించిన సంస్థ శ్రీ ముత్తవరపు వెంకటేశ్వరరావు కాలేజ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ అండ్ టెక్నాలజీ.
Good morning. So in the last class, we discussed about the filter characteristics of linear systems, right? Filter characteristics of linear systems. Here we are taking two signals, that is input signal and response. So here we have taken the Fourier transform of the input signal as well as the Fourier transform of the output signal. See, the Fourier transform of the input signal f of t is nothing but f of omega can be described as integral minus infinity to infinity f of t in t power minus j omega t dt. Similarly, the Fourier transform of the response r of t, that is r of omega, which is represented as integral minus infinity to infinity r of t into e power minus j omega t dt, right? Okay, this is also called as spectral density function of the given function. Okay, spectral density function of the given function, right? Okay, so here r of t, that is response, is described as f of t convolved with h of t, f of t convolved with h of t. Here f of t and h of t both are represented in time domain. Okay, as we already know that the convolution in time domain becomes simple multiplication in frequency domain. Okay, the convolution in time domain becomes simple multiplication in frequency domain, right? Okay, here r of t is described as f of t convolved with h of t, where h of t is the unit impulse response and f of t is the given input signal, right? So in frequency domain, it will be represented as r of omega is equal to multiplication of f of omega and h of omega, right? So this is the spectral density function of the input signal, that is f of omega is multiplied by h of omega. So this modification is carried out according to the transfer function h of omega. Here h of omega will act as weighing function. This is also called as weighing function to different frequencies. It is the weighing function to different frequencies. Okay, we can say that from the above discussion, we can say that some frequency components are boosted in strength. That means that some frequency components are amplified. Some frequency components are attenuated. These are decremented. Some frequency components are attenuated, and some frequency components remains unchanged. Okay, based on the range of the frequency. Okay, the system modifies this spectral density function according to its filter characteristics based on the range. Suppose if we take the low pass filter, it allows low frequency components. Okay, it attenuates, it means it stops the high frequency components. Similarly, if you take high pass filter, it allows only higher frequency components and it stops the lower frequency components. Similarly, if we take the band pass filter, it takes or it passes the particular range of frequencies, particular band of frequencies, and remaining frequencies will be attenuated. So these are the filter characteristics of the linear systems. Okay, we already discussed in the last class. Okay, is it clear now? Yes. Next, coming to the distortionless transmission through a system. What is meant by distortionless transmission? That is nothing but a noise-free transmission. Okay, so it is defined like this: a transmission is said to be distortionless if the response of the system is exact xerox of the input signal, or it is exact replica of the input signal. So the shape of the waveform will be the same. It may have the different amplitude, it may have the different magnitude, but the shape of the waveform will be same. So if you pass the sinusoidal signal as the input signal. So we'll get the same sinusoidal signal as the output signal, but its amplitude may be differ. Okay. So if the signal acquire any phase shift during the process of transmission, they may add up to an entirely different signal. So maybe some phase shift may be there, some amplitude shift may be there. Okay. So but the shape of the waveform will not change. So that is called the distortionless transmission of a system through a system. Okay, so the replica means the Xerox, which is produced by a distortionless transmission system, may have some time delay. So it may have some time delay. Then we can say that the signal f of t is transmitted without distortion if the response is k into f of t minus t naught. That means that it has the magnitude k or amplitude k, and it can be shifted towards right side by t naught units. So the signal f of t is delayed by t naught units with the magnitude k times the original signal. So response R of t can be represented as k into f of t minus t naught, k into f of t minus t naught. So this is the distortionless transmission through a system. Next, by taking Fourier transform for the response, that is Fourier transform of R of t is equal to Fourier transform of k into f of t minus t naught, or we can write this as k is some constant, So R of omega, Fourier transform of R of t is nothing but R of omega. So extract the constant outside, that is k into f of t minus t naught. Okay, k into f of t minus t naught. That is nothing but frequency shifting property, as time shifting property. T minus t naught is time shifting property. So we already derived Fourier transform of t minus t naught is nothing but f of omega into e power minus j omega t naught. Okay, f of omega into e power minus j omega t naught. But earlier we derived r of omega as f of omega multiplied by h of omega. Now you compare these two equations. So f of omega into h of omega is equal to k into f of omega into e power minus j omega t naught. So f of omega gets cancelled. So it will become h of omega is equal to some k into e power minus j omega t naught. That is nothing but the transfer function of the system. H of omega is equal to k into e power minus j omega t naught, right? Or mod h of omega, that is nothing but the magnitude. Magnitude mod h of j omega h of omega is equal to k is some constant, so k into mod e power minus j omega t naught. Okay, so that is magnitude k is constant for all frequencies, and the phase shift is proportional to frequencies, right? Phase shift is proportional to frequencies. That is theta is directly proportional to omega t naught, or we can express this as theta of omega is equal to minus omega t naught. So shifting in time by plus or minus t naught units results in phase shift plus or minus omega t naught, but it is not allowed in distortionless transmission. Plus or minus omega t naught will not allowed in distortionless transmission. Hence, for the distortionless transmission system, the space function must be of the form phi minus or n phi minus omega t naught, n phi minus omega t naught, where n is any real integer, right? So h of omega is k into mod magnitude of h of omega, that is k into magnitude of our mod e power minus j omega t naught, and phase angle theta of omega equal to n pi minus omega t naught. Okay, magnitude and phase can be represented like this. Next, coming to the bandwidth of a system. How it is defined bandwidth? Now, if you take the frequency response of the system, it is drawn between magnitude versus frequency. So if you take the maximum gain, so here A is represented as the maximum gain. If you draw the 1 by root 2 times of A, that is 3 dB gain, so the dotted lines, here the dotted line shown here. So the dotted line's curve is nothing but dotted line is nothing but 3 dB line. So it cuts the frequency response at two places. Okay, So that the first place is represented by omega 1 and second place is represented by omega 2. The difference of these two is nothing but the bandwidth of the bandwidth of a system. So it is defined also like this. It is defined as the interval of frequency is 1 which the magnitude mod h of omega remains within 1 by root 2 times its value at the mid band. Okay, it is also defined like, or we can say that it is the difference of higher cutoff frequency and the lower cutoff frequency. Here omega 2 is represented by higher cutoff frequency, whereas omega 1 is represented by lower cutoff frequency. So the difference of these two, omega 2 minus omega 1, is nothing but bandwidth of a system. Okay, so next coming to the energy density spectrum. Energy density spectrum. Energy density spectrum, which is represented by capital E. Energy density spectrum is represented by capital E. Okay, capital E. Okay, suppose if you take any electrical system. Electrical system means it consisting of voltage and current, right? So electrical system may be represent a voltage, a signal. In electrical systems, a signal may represent a voltage or current, or consider a voltage V of t developed across a resistor or producing producing a current I of t. Okay, the instantaneous power dissipated in this resistor, that is P of t, is nothing but the product of V of t and I of t. As we already know that V of t is nothing but V is nothing but IR, or we can write this as R into I of t, so that it will become I square R into R, capital R. Or we can write I of t as V of t by R. So already V of t is there. So V of t into V of t, V square of t by R. So we can define the power, instantaneous power P of t as V square t by R or I square t into R. In both the cases, power P of t is proportional to the squared amplitude of a system, squared amplitude. So if we take the voltage, that is V square of t, it is proportional to V square of t. Similarly, if we take the current I square of t, so P of t is proportional to I square of t, that is nothing but the squared amplitude of either voltage or current, right? If R is 1, then it will become P of t is equal to V square of t or I square of t. So that's why we can say in general as P of t is equal to x square of t, where x of t may be either voltage or current, right? So as we already know that non-periodic signals are energy signals. Non-periodic signals. What is meant by non-periodic signal? What is meant by periodic signal? Periodic signal is a signal which obeys the condition, yes, which obeys the condition x of t equal to x of t plus capital T, where t is the fundamental period. Okay, x of t or f of t is equal to f of t plus t, which does not obeys the condition f of t is equal to f of t plus capital T, that is called non-periodic signal. It means that it will not repeat with the fundamental period. Its time period is infinity. Its time period is infinity. That's why it is called non-periodic signal. Or these are also called as energy signals. So energy is calculated for non-periodic signals, right? So the energy of the continuous time signal x of t is defined by capital E, which is represented by limit t tends to infinity integral minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 x square of t dt. Okay, limit t tends to infinity integral minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 x square of t dt, or we can represent this as integral minus infinity to infinity x square of t dt. Similarly, for discrete time signals also, it is defined as E equal to sigma n is minus infinity to infinity x square of n. Okay. Okay. Sigma n equal to minus infinity to infinity x square of n. For continuous time signals, it is represented as integral minus infinity to infinity x square of t dt. For discrete time signals, it is represented as sigma n equal to minus infinity to infinity x square of n, right? So the Fourier transform of x of t is x of omega, or inverse Fourier transform of x of omega is x of t. That is represented as 1 by 2 pi integral minus infinity to infinity x of omega into e power plus j omega t d omega. So let it be considered as equation number 1. So energy E of x of t is given by E equal to integral minus infinity to infinity x square of t dt. But x of t is defined as 1 by 2 pi integral minus infinity to infinity x of omega e power plus j omega t dt. Substitute that expression in equation number 2 at the place of 1x of t. Okay, at the place of 1x of t. So it will become e equal to integral minus infinity to infinity. Already one x of t is there, that is x of t into another, in the place of another x of t, we are substituting the equation number 1, that is 1 by 2 pi integral minus infinity to infinity x of omega into e power plus j omega t d omega into dt. Now we are interchanging. We have to interchange the intervals. So it will become 1 by 2 pi as constant 1 by 2 pi integral minus infinity to infinity x of omega into integral minus infinity to infinity x of t into e power j omega t dt into d omega. But here we have integral minus infinity to infinity x of t into e power minus j omega t dt is nothing but x of omega. But here e power plus j omega t is there, that's why it is nothing but x of minus omega. So the entire expression becomes e equal to 1 by 2 pi integral minus infinity to infinity x of omega into x of minus omega d omega, right? X of omega into x of minus omega d omega. Okay, then it will become mod x of omega whole square d omega. Now substitute omega equal to 2 pi f. So already 1 by 2 pi is there. So 2 pi gets cancelled and it will become integral minus infinity to infinity mod x of omega whole square into df. So this equation states that the energy of a given signal by the area under the mod x of omega whole square curve integrated with respect to frequency mod x of omega whole square curve is integrated with respect to frequency. So this is the energy spectral density function. Energy density spectrum. Okay, energy density spectrum. Okay, next coming to the interpretation of energy density. Interpretation of energy density. How to interpret this energy density? So energy of the signal x of t was already derived as E equal to 1 by 2 pi integral minus infinity to infinity mod x of omega whole square d omega. Let it be considered as equation number 1. So that is the energy of the signal x of t. That is the energy of the signal x of t, which is given by E equal to 1 by 2 pi integral minus infinity to infinity mod x of omega square d omega. That is equation number 1, where x of t is the input signal, r of t is the response or output signal, and h of t is the system function, or it is an impulse function, or it is a transfer function, right? So the Fourier transform of x of t is x of omega. Similarly, the Fourier transform of r of t is r of omega, and the Fourier transform of h of t is h of omega. From this relation, we can write that h of omega is equal to r of omega by x of omega, or r of omega is equal to x of omega multiplied by h of omega. Let E naught be the energy of the output signal, that is r of t. Okay, so E naught can be represented as 1 by 2 pi integral minus infinity to infinity x of omega into h of omega whole square d omega, right? Since h of omega is equal to 0 everywhere except over a narrow band delta omega where it is unity. Okay, So since h of omega is equal to 0 everywhere except over a narrow band delta omega where it is unity. Okay, that is h of omega. Here is impulse response. So it is represented at t equal to 0. It is represented as 1, right? Unit impulse function, right? So here we are taking the spectrum. So delta omega, change of omega, it is unity, which is as shown like this. See here, h of omega in between minus omega and omega. So delta omega is change of omega. So it is unity. It is represented as 1 at here. So from this response, h of impulse response, we can say that f of t, suppose if we take f of t is the squared function like this, between minus t by 2 to plus t by 2, its amplitude is a. Okay, the spectral density function of f of t is nothing but f of omega. So f of omega is represented as integral minus infinity to infinity f of t into e power minus j omega t dt, right? So it is represented as figure B like this. Okay, this is the spectral density function. How to get this spectral density function? Spectral density function is nothing but magnitude function or Fourier transform of the f of t function, right? So okay, we will find out the magnitude function and draw the magnitude versus omega curve. Okay, that curve is represented like this. Next, in figure C, the energy density spectrum E can be represented as mod f of omega whole square, mod f of omega whole square versus frequency. That is represented like this. So mod f of omega whole square versus frequency is represented as figure C, right? So for delta omega tends to 0, for delta omega tends to 0, then E naught becomes 2 times 2 into 1 by 2 pi x of mod x of omega naught square delta omega, or 2 into 1 by 2 pi into mod x of omega naught square into delta omega is replaced by 2 pi f. Omega is replaced by 2 pi f, or 2 pi gets cancelled. So it will become 2 into mod x of omega square into delta f. So therefore the energy of the output signal is 2 times of mod x of omega naught square into delta f. Sometimes x of omega is called spectrum of x of t. It is the spectrum of x of t. Therefore, x of omega is equal to integral minus infinity to infinity x of t into e power minus j omega t dt. X of omega equal to integral minus infinity to infinity x of t into e power minus j omega t dt, right? The above equation describes the way in which relative signal amplitude or phase is distributed with frequency. Okay, so that is the above equation, that is x of omega equal to integral minus infinity to infinity x of t into e power minus j omega t dt describes the way in which relative signal amplitude or phase is distributed with frequency. If the amplitude is represented with frequency, then it is called amplitude spectrum. In the same way, equation 1 represents the energy of the signal for different frequencies. Hence, equation number 1 is called as energy density spectrum. Equation number 1 is called energy density spectrum. Okay, that is 1 by 2 pi integral minus infinity infinity mod x of omega square d omega, that is the energy density spectrum. Okay, E naught is the energy of the output signal, that is 2 times of mod x of omega naught square into delta f. Okay, if the amplitude is represented with the frequency, amplitude versus frequency, then it is called amplitude spectrum. If the amplitude is represented as phase angle versus frequency, then that is called phase spectrum, right? So this is about the interpretation of energy density. Okay, next we'll discuss about the, we are going to discuss about the power density spectrum. So far we discussed about energy density spectrum. Now we are going to discuss about the power density spectrum. So energy density spectrum, so the non-periodic signals are called energy signals. So energy is calculated for non-periodic signals, but power density spectrum, coming to the power density spectrum, the periodic signal, we have to consider about the periodic signals. So periodic signals are called power signals. periodic signals are called power signals. So here power is calculated for periodic signals only, whereas energy is calculated for non-periodic signals only. Okay, if x of t is an arbitrary periodic signal, power of the signal x of t is given by p is equal to limit t tends to infinity, capital T tends to infinity, 1 by t into integral minus t by 2 plus t by 2 mod x of t square dt. That is the power of the signal. Power of the signal is represented as limit t tends to infinity, 1 by t into integral minus t by 2 to t by 2 plus t by 2 mod x of t whole square dt. That is equation number 1. Here equation number 1 sometimes referred as mean square value of x of t, right? Mean square value of x of t, and is denoted by x square of t bar, right? X square of t bar. Okay, so therefore x square of t bar can be represented as p is equal to limit t tends to infinity 1 by t into integral minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 mod x of t square dt. So the power of the signal or mean square value of the signal x of t, both are same. The power of the signal, that is represented by p, and a mean square value of x of t is also represented by t. So mean square value of x of t is represented as x square of t bar. So x square of t bar is equal to p is represented by limit capital T tends to infinity 1 by t integral minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 mod x square of t or x of t whole square dt, right? This is called power spectral power of the signal or mean square value of x of t. Okay, so power density spectrum, here the power is calculated for periodic signals. Power is calculated for periodic signals, whereas energy is calculated for non-periodic signals. Remember, don't get confused. Power is power signals are called periodic signals. Non-periodic signals are called energy signals. So for non-periodic signals, energy is calculated. For periodic signals, power is calculated. So how the power is represented? Power is equal to limit t tends to infinity 1 by t integral minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 mod x of t square dt. Okay, how the energy is calculated? See, the energy is represented as limit t tends to infinity integral minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 x square of t dt. Or it is represented as integral minus infinity to infinity x square of t dt, whereas power is represented as limit t tends to infinity 1 by t into integral minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 mod x of t square dt, right? That is the difference between these two. Energy is calculated for non-periodic signals, whereas power is calculated for periodic signals. So that is represented. It is also called as power signals are also called as mean square value of x of t. It is also referred as mean square value of x of t. That is represented by x square of t bar. X square of t bar is equal to p is equal to limit t tends to infinity 1 by t into integral minus t by 2 to t by 2 mod x of t square dt, mod x of t square dt. So that is the power of the signal x of t, or mean square value of the signal x of t. So power is calculated for periodic signals, energy is calculated for non-periodic signals. With this, we will conclude this today's session. In the next class, we'll continue. We'll continue the remaining topics. Okay, thank you.